Okay, so for this one it says multiply and simplify. So we learn first to factor each numerator and denominator into their factored forms. So once you factor the first time, you're going to get something like this here. So just real quickly to go over why that is because this is the sum of cubes. So I've used the sum of cubes formula. Right here I've factored out a y to the fifth, so that's turned into this with the leftovers inside. Down here I've factored out a y to the fourth, so I have the leftovers inside, and I have y squared minus 2y plus 4 that actually can't factor. So the next step is actually you need to factor again if anything can factor again. So for instance here, the sum of cubes, you'd want to look inside here and see if this could be factored. You look at the three terms, if there's 1, 2, 3 terms, you want to see if there's any two numbers that can multiply out to be positive 4, but add up to be negative 2. Unfortunately, there's not, so this actually can't factor any further. But look inside here. Once we factor out a y to the fifth, we actually have our leftovers inside here, and this actually can factor again. Because if you think about it, there are two numbers that will multiply out to be positive 4, but those same two numbers can add up to be negative 4. So what I'm going to do is erase this here and turn it into y minus 2 times y minus 2. And you can check that by foiling it back out. You should get back to what you had there inside the parentheses. But negative 2 and negative 2 can multiply out to be positive 4, and negative 2y and negative 2y will add up to be negative 4y. So also down here you want to check if there's anything that can be factored more. And I see in here my leftovers is the difference of squares, because 4 is the same thing as 2 squared. So if you remember, the difference of squares factors into conjugate pairs. That means this is going to simplify into y minus 2, y plus 2. So I'll replace that right here, y minus 2, y plus 2. Once everything is totally factored, and again I'd look over here and see if this can factor. No two numbers, though, will multiply out to be positive 4 but add up to be negative 2, so this actually can't factor, so it's totally in its factored form. I could put parentheses around everything now if I wanted to. Now everything is totally in its factored form, and we can go ahead and simplify. So let's see, I see a y plus 2 on top, so I can cancel it with the y plus 2 on bottom. See y minus 2, y minus 2. I see a y squared minus 2y plus 4, y squared minus 2y plus 4, the whole thing can cancel. So what I'm left with here is y to the 5th, and I also have a y to the 4th down here. So y to the 4th can cancel with 4 of these y's. We're just going to have one y left, y to the 1 power left. So after all is said and done, let's look at the denominator. Every single thing in the denominator was canceled out, so that we just have a 1 down there. And in the numerator, we just have a y times y minus 2. So we could either leave it that way, or we could distribute that through and get y squared minus 2y over 1, or you could just leave it like that. Either one of these answers will be correct.